Before we go deeper into origin today, I wanted to contradict a previous claim I've made, which is the opposing powers are strictly black people, because clearly, also something I said is that they believe the opposing powers have a spirit. They believe that they have the Holy Spirit, which is Izeus, and the opposing powers have a different spirit. So there are different spirits that control different things. And so when he says, and as we said before, we as regards our own conduct or the working of the opposing powers against us, act of our own free choice when we sin. The choice is disorderly when we do such things as are pleasing to God. The choice is disciplined, not however that we can dispense with angels, the divine scriptures, or assisting saints. So all I'm saying is, number one, opposing powers do have the power of a spirit to them. So you probably should fear the opposing power, just don't mess with them, don't blaspheme them probably. Let's move on to the next paragraph. So, and Clement of Rome, in his argument with his father at Laodicea, has some comments on the question before us. The passage occurs in the Travels, which agrees with foregoing. Toward the end, he speaks with great force on seeming results of nativity. I think nativity has to do with birth, but it's a very confusing concept. But what I actually want to mention is the Travels. The Travels is the book, The Travels of St. Peter. I can't find it because Clement worked for St. Peter. But remember, we have a lot of words for birth, and that's why it's confusing that they're talking about a man's nativity related to astrology, which has to do with your astrological sign. And he goes pretty deep into he will literally tell you I'll prove it to you. Go to 2 different astrologers and tell them 2 different things. I'll start where my head is. If you meet with an astrologer and begin by telling him that at a certain time you had poor luck, and ask him to be good enough to inform you what star was the cause of it, he will say that a malignant Mars or Saturn ruled the times, or that one of them was periodic, or that one of them regarded the particular year from the point of something, I can't see it on my page, or diametrically, or in conjunction, or centrally, or was retrograding, and no end of things besides. We talk about retrograde planets in English for astrology. Oh, Mercury's in retrograde. We can all feel it, right? So he will tell you that either, I'm still at the top, on the third line, on the far right. He will tell you that either an auspicious planet was not counteracting, or a malignant one, or it was not observable, or in figure, or was retrograding, or in eclipse, or in detriment, or was among the dim stars. So auspicious would mean lucky. So you have a bad luck planet that's going against another one. So he'll tell you literally what they'll tell you. And then he says, now go to another astrologer, I'm going to the blue, that at the same time and tell him that you had a piece of good fortune, and ask him from what star of your nativity it has arisen. Though you have deceived him, he is able, as I said before, out of many figures to find 1 or 2 or 3 or more, which he will make out to be the true cause of your good fortune. So you can tell 2 astrologers 2 different things, I promise, and they will tell you, well, it's because of this. The stars always work based on what you tell them. Before the events, it can tell us nothing certain, but when the facts are related to the results, clearly show the cause. This is why, predicting the future, they frequently err, and after the event blame themselves and say, well, this is why. You can see it with the way that the planets work. Because how do the planets work? I talked about the revolution of the planets around the sun, but do the stars have a revolution to them? So my understanding is that the reason that the moon revolves around the earth and the satellite revolves around the earth is because the earth's gravitational pull that is the result of folds in space. And it's almost they're going down a drain, and but they never go down, but they're pulled towards the earth. And similar to the earth's gravitational pull that it has on the moon, the stars have gravitational pulls on planets, and there's something that has a gravitational pull on stars as far as I know. And so there's a revolution of the stars, there's a revolution of the planets, and and then there's a revolution of the moon. So they're different, they're folds within folds within folds. It's kind of like ripples in water, but they're not moving as far as I know. And so I don't know that much about physics, but I did read Brian Greene's book on Einstein a long time ago, because this is Einstein type stuff. So in my opinion, like the reason that Origen was so good at fighting against astrology is because he was so aware of like the universe. And like it's like you have me talking to you like 2,000 years ago when I read this, and like I know what I know now, and like I mean every time I listen to him it's like he is so like me. In the next section he's going to talk about the problem of evil, and that's why I kind of decided to go ahead, because like why is it so important that he like will like disprove astrology? He has prophecies that are like real. Like he says like I can prove that like this book Isaiah predicted the coming of Darius, and Darius conquered the world. And I can prove that I have a prophecy about the coming of Alexander, and Alexander conquered the world. And I have a prophecy that literally tells us the date that the Levite priests, the high priests, and all the other priests that are in charge of the temple will get killed. Like, and like I have the name Josiah. Like he says Josiah by name. And like it says what's going to happen, that like all these people will be able to go into the Holy of Holies after they kill the priests. And so like what I'm telling you is like he has proven that that's a real prophecy. And he's saying those astrologers, like you think that I'm the same as the astrologers, that we're the same as the astrologers. We are not the same as the astrologers. This is Zeus. Like he's like telling that guy like, this is Zeus. Like, I mean, because like he talks to that guy like that guy is not a Jew, because he's not. He's talking to Celsus. Celsus is like a pagan. Like Celsus is afraid of Zeus. Trust me, he's afraid of Apollo. So Izeus died on the 14th day of the month. And my opinion is like when you got 40 lashes less one, they killed you. It was kind of like going, we're going to try not to kill you so that we can crucify you. And Paul got it, like it's like a way of like being like, it's scarier because we won't give you that extra lash that'll kill you. Because when they lashed you, was it whipping you? It was whipping you with like bones and like glass and like sharp stuff in the whip. Like it's ripping your skin off. Like it's gonna be a very, very nasty thing. Like you might die very, very fast. Like that's like the hope of everyone that gets the 40 lashes is like, I'll die before they crucify me. So did Izeus die? I think that everyone knew he was dead, like, and they put him in the tomb and he came back and he was a clone. So like, and no one got that. It was kind of like a way of being like, you should be scared, bitches. Like, cause is it very hard to have a clone of me? No. So like, all I'm saying is like, this has been covered up that much. And, like the fact that like Izeus was like literally on display in front of everyone during Passover. Everyone comes to the temple for Passover. They come from out of town. And what do they see? This guy like, that's like his insides, like his intestines and his guts are showing. And he's hanging from a cross. And he's like the guy that like gives people free food. And like everyone knows that guy will give everyone free food because he does not give a shit about his money. He knows that land is gone. He's not staying there. Izeus will no longer be with those people.